along the way. And I think that sometimes, I know in my past, when I wanted to impart something to my children, sometimes I've thought, well, I need to sit and set aside some time and explain it to them. But really,
so many of us do.
Yes, and sometimes that's really important. When one of them does something like pinch another one or take his toy, then you do need to explain that.
Right.
But for me, little vignettes, small conversations along the course of things, typically when they have a question, why did you do that way?
Interesting.
That's the opportune time to give them, a few minutes of conversation to explain the why, because it applies to the situation at hand.
What about this? Now, you mentioned the produce, and you've mentioned a couple different ways of your income, but have you ever bartered for services or exchanged, or any experience there by chance? Because I have before with different moms in the areas, etc., but I know we get stuck sometimes and can't think of how to really do that.
Yes, well, and a lot of times people don't think they have anything to offer.
Good point.
Especially if I was in the home for 16 years, and so as much as we try to say, oh, it's important to be at home with your children, it can happen subconsciously that one thinks, well, all I have to offer really is making dinner and folding the laundry. But everyone, no matter what age or where they are in life, or if they've been in the job force or out, even children, they have two things that they can use to barter. One is an individual skill set, things that they are good at. Personally, they might be good at doing taxes or lawn work or cleaning houses or being a personal shopper or sales. Different types of things
or
like
even
that.
Decorating and knowing because I'm not great at decorating, but boy, I would love to know someone who does, and maybe I can give them some help with something they're doing.
Exactly, and whatever, it's easy to think, well, if I'm good at it, well, everyone's good at that. It's easy to underestimate, but there's always going to be someone down the street or at your child's school or some other environment who's not good at that and would love to trade.
Isn't that the point, though?
Exactly. It is, and that's the way, of course, back in the olden days, where everything was done, for a pound of apples or a few chickens or whatever.
Good point.
But another category is assets that you have.
Okay.
Now, if you're not doing too well, I don't have a very big house, and finances can be, touchy sometimes, but that doesn't mean that there aren't things I have to offer. I have a lawnmower. I have a log splitter, a power log splitter.
Really?
And I've bartered
I don't have one of those.
I bartered for everything from house repairs to a set of family portraits for use of that log splitter.
Oh my, really?
Yes, and I have a little pop-up camper and different things like that. Even my front yard, I have a huge flat front yard, and neighbors have come and held yard sales in my yard because they have wooded lots and I have an open one.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So I was just teaching a class this last week in the divorce care program. If you're not familiar with that, it's a wonderful program. It's offered at Hickory Grove Baptist Church as well as a number of other churches in the area. But I was asked to come in and teach the one on finances. And what I told everyone in the class was, on a good day, on a Sunday perhaps, when you've had a little bit of rest and you're not exhausted, or maybe at 3 in the morning when the children are sleeping, whatever works best for you.
And you're not, because you're laying there
getting things
what have I not gotten accomplished today?
Exactly. Just take out a pad of paper and allow yourself to think for a while and just explore in your mind, and don't automatically dismiss, oh, that wouldn't work, and make one list of skills and one list of physical assets of things that you have that might be of interest to people, and then sit down with a good creative friend, flesh those out, and odds are you can find something in there that can get you some part-time income.
I think that's worth saying again, if you don't mind. Make the list. What are your lists again? Your skills.
Individual skills and individual assets.
All right.
Physical
skills
assets.
and assets.
Yes.
And isn't it true, though, so many times we really do not believe that we have that much to offer. However, when you just said the log splitter or whatever, there's so many things at the home that I would love to get done. And sure enough, once you start spreading the word, When I saw that you were in landscape design before, I thought, ooh, now there's something I could use for sure.
Exactly. That's before I had my children. I helped to manage a greenhouse nursery, and I did a little bit of landscape design. I've had no training in it, but I enjoyed it a great deal.
Great.
And I have done a little bit of that for friends. Also, I'm good at, if you've ever seen some of those shows where they'll go into someone's house that's really a wreck, and then they'll talk about how to thin things out and decide what to get rid of and what to keep,
yes,
and
sure.
how to store things. That's something that I kind of have enjoyed getting better at over time. I was never a big pack rat, but really honing my skills on that. And so I've had friends have me come in when they're looking at selling a house or just wanting to thin things out, to help them to help sharpen their vision,
Right.
and give them some energy by working alongside them in clearing things out and making decisions of what to keep and what to let go.
And again, your 3 sons are there to see this, to learn from you. They're different ages, so they can then learn from each other as well, of course.
Yes.
But I think there's a great deal of pride that goes with being responsible. And I know they're proud of their mom for being the way that you are, and you know you're giving them a life skill.
Yes.
And that sometimes we don't stop to think about that.
Yes, and again,
either.
as single parents, there's always that thought in the back of the mind that's running around in a little mouse wheel saying, I'm not doing the best for my kids. They're being deprived of something. I wish I could do this, take them here, buy them this, get this lesson for them, travel, those kinds of things.
That's right.
And really, because I remember my mother saying those things over and over, but I now am grateful for those skills that I learned from her. And what comes along with those things is a sense of confidence
Right.
and capability that if you have everything given to you, you're really deprived of the opportunity to learn what you're capable of.
That's important. That is so important, because why would you? Why would you seek out and see what are my strengths?
Exactly.
What can I give back? How can I do this? I know already my son, who is 7, loves to do things like bring the garbage in or take the garbage out, get the mail for me, feed the dog. That's his way of giving back. And I know it's not only by helping me, but I'm teaching him to know that he has something he can give.
Mm-hmm.
And see, now you've reminded me of this today, because we sometimes don't connect the
Yes.
dots as far as that is concerned.
Yeah, we kind of actually, in our home, we have a structure for that. Every 4 months, we sit down and have a family meeting, and we put out all the chores that are necessary to be done.
Oh my.
And it's like the UN. There's this, well, I'll trade taking out the trash if you will clean the toilets, and back and forth and back and forth.
I like it.
Yeah, and then
That's
we
great.
decide how it's going to be distributed. And it works that way for a few months, and then we sit down and we change it again. And that way each of them learns a different set of skills, and they know that whatever job they have, they're not stuck with it forever.
All right, I love that. I have the skills up on the refrigerator right now for my daughter and my son, and that's what they do. And of course, my daughter's written on it, "You're kidding, right?" You know,
Oh, of
like,
course.
I can't mow the lawn. Well, sure you can, honey. Mom does it, you can do it. But
Exactly.
so we've traded. We've compromised.
Yeah, and in the different books and classes that I've gone to about trying to be a good parent,
Right.
one of the things that was said in there, specifically of boys, this could work with boys and girls, but specifically of boys, because boys seem to have this desire to conquer things.
Oh, how true.
They're very wired to conquer things. And one of the things that was said in this class that I went to in May was to continuously give them opportunities to accomplish something that they really almost don't feel like they couldn't do, or is a little bit beyond what they're really capable of. Sure. Because number one, it gives them the message, I believe you're capable of this. This needs to get accomplished. Here are the tools. You can solve that problem, figure it out. I'll be over here doing this. So I'm still available, but I trust that you can conquer this. So they feel that sense, well, Mom believes I can do it. And they may flounder for a little while or come to get some advice, but when they're finished, they've done something that they hadn't done before that they can then walk around and swagger. Well, I figured out how to fix the screen door that was broken.
Exactly. Aren't I something?
Aren't I something?
Oh,
They've
yeah.
conquered something and gotten that sense again of being capable of solving problems and doing things that, you know, are new to them.
Right. I think one thing that I do that I try so hard not to, I have to really think about it though, is not to do it all myself.
Oh, yes.
I have to remember, don't we all, though? We all make that mistake, I think. But to remember that they are very capable of doing so. And when they are asked to do something or told to do something, after they do it, they realize that there is more life